CCRC stands for Central Core Restoration Corporation, and they were established about, I think, 12 years ago. And they're sort of a self-taxing entity that draws income from all the property owners within the downtown district. They'll help to sponsor other events that merchants in the downtown or the community in the downtown will try to put on in an attempt to revitalize this historic core part of the city. Because what's happened in Vallejo is what happens in a lot of cities, is that the older part of the city begins to get deserted as the cities grow. The new retail centers move to the outskirts of town, and so business follows it. Their new business centers are established, and you kind of get a ghost town in the downtown. So one of their main things has been to make the downtown feel safe and vibrant again. And it's, these type of programs have worked successfully in other communities. The one that they recently helped to sponsor and support was the Downtown Art Windows Project, which was a pilot program that we did in October of 2012. And it was patterned after a similar project that they did up in Napa that they called Art on First. And I saw that going on and did some research on it, realized, again, that's another one of those projects that other communities have done. They had put out a call for artists, like you would for any sort of a gallery show or a community art event. And those artists would submit their ideas, and it would go through a review committee, an arts review committee, and those installation pieces would then go into the windows and stay for a year. It's a collaboration between the artists and the property owners in an effort to improve the downtown. And so there's sort of a larger community intent behind it. We had about 100 people that attended, and the artists came and gave tours, walked all around the downtown and talked about their art. The thing about our downtown is it's mostly just empty, and so people feel like it's a ghost town. So to see that evening where there were lights in the trees, the windows were lit, there was 100 people walking the streets of our downtown, and talking about art, and engaging with the artists. So it was really rewarding. I got so much great feedback from members of the community who were like, it was so great to see, Georgia Street alive with people, because it used to be that way. It was a hub, it was a bustling, busy downtown, and they were so excited, and immediately people were going, oh, we should do this all the time. Why don't we have more events like this? So again, it's one of those things where it's about changing perception. The power behind grassroots movements is that, you kind of get the community spirit up and going. If it's a city-sponsored thing, sometimes it's an event, there's not the same sense of investment in that. It's sort of a microcosm of what can happen when one or more people have a good idea, something that they're passionate about, that they have the vision for. They don't have to wait for somebody else to get behind it, or say that it's okay to do. You just do it. And as you ask for help and as you create excitement about it, people come on board, but you have to have somebody that really believes in it. And then once people see it unfold, they go, oh, wow. And people are so drawn to that. They're so excited. They want to be part of something that they can get behind, that they see other people being excited about, and that is working. Because in our community especially, there's been a great sense of discouragement. People are very disillusioned, about the way our city government has worked in the past. They feel like they've been let down, that every good idea is fated to not work, to fail. So for this project to succeed, even on a small scale, meant so much.
Last March, a couple of the patrons of the theater and members of the Arts Council asked me what I would do with one night if I could put on a show here at the Empress Theater. And I had already been kind of scouting locations to have just some sort of pro jam, a professional artists and musicians coming together and in a kind of a loose format to jam and hang out and get to know each other and make music. And that's based on something that Levon Helm, the late and great drummer for the band, had been doing at his farm in Woodstock, New York for the last 10 years of his life. And it was just inspiring for me to see what he did with his friends and family musically. And he turned it into a really big deal, and it's still ongoing. And so using the spirit of that and his blueprint, I started calling friends and asking if they'd be interested in playing music at the Empress. And it grew into almost a year now we've been doing these shows. I think it's uplifting in a lot of ways, just for the fact that it's a place for people to get to know each other, come and hang out and party and enjoy each other and meet people in different segments of our town. And so it's been uplifting that way. It's also been, for me, a place to meet other people that are interested in making this town happen. And for the most part, there's people in the arts. It just seems to be that way. Either people that are really, that's what they do, they're practicing artists, or they're people that support artists and musicians and the like with their spirit. That's the most important part of it.
We had a beautiful old building in our downtown, and again, our city is terribly underfunded, and there are historic buildings that cannot be renovated because there's no budget for that, and it's hard to find investors who are willing to take that kind of a project on because they don't see that there's going to be a return in this sort of economically depressed area. So they've developed this and have done a beautiful job renovating this, and it's called the Temple Arts Loft. It's done in they've renovated a building that at one time housed the city hall, the city jail. It was then the Masonic temple. So there's a lot of beautiful architecture, big sort of performance hall that was their meeting room. And the intention has been to populate it with artists and create not only to restore the building physically, but also to create a community hub of artists in the downtown, because there's a lot of power in that particular kind of a community. We found that the building itself had not been built to accommodate artists, that it's pretty much just housing. The art space that they had promised had nothing that was of any sort of utility to artists.
Sort of communal art space.
It's supposed to be a communal art space. There was no, and just in the simplest of terms, there was no sink. There was meager electricity. So we took them to task on it, and the city is now going to help pitch in to fund the additional things that are going to be needed for artists. What I think is wonderful about this is that if we hadn't gotten involved, none of that would have happened. It just would have been passed off, and the fact that we got involved and put our nose where really nobody believes it should belong, there's been a sense of, just butt out, you don't know anything about it, we're going to take care of it, it's not your business, it's not your money. And there's a line. And so we have told them, there is no line. This may be your project, but you're smack dab in the middle of our community, and you're going to continue to be a part of our community, and that's our investment.